Hello everyone, welcome to Mythical Sleeps. Tonight, we travel back further than we have ever gone before. Before Rome, before Greece, before the pyramids of Egypt. We are going back to the cradle of civilization, to ancient Mesopotamia, to the land between the two rivers. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in, filling your lungs, and let it out. Let the dust of the modern world settle. Imagine the smell of wet clay, the heat of the desert sun, the cool breeze rising from the Euphrates River. Tonight, we read from the oldest story in the world, written on clay tablets, lost for thousands of years under the sands of Iraq, and found again. It is the story of a man who refused to die. Imagine you are standing outside a city, Uruk. Look at its walls. They shine like copper in the sun. Inspect the foundation. It is made of burnt brick. Touch the threshold. It is ancient. Walk up the stairs onto the wall. Look out at the city. 1 square mile of city. 1 square mile of palm gardens. 1 square mile of clay pits. This is the domain of Gilgamesh. He is the king. He is 2/3 god and 1/3 man. He is like a wild bull. He is tall, magnificent, and terrible. He walks through the city, head and shoulders above all other men. But his heart is restless. He has no equal. He has no friend. And so his energy turns to tyranny. He sounds the war drum for no reason. He takes sons from their fathers and brides from their husbands. The people of Uruk cried out to the sky, "Let him find an equal. Let him find a brother. Let his heart be tamed so that Uruk may rest." The gods heard the cry of the city. Aruru, the goddess of creation, dipped her hands into water. She took a pinch of clay from the earth. She dropped it into the wilderness. And from that clay, Enkidu was born. He was the reflection of Gilgamesh, but wild. He knew nothing of cities. He knew nothing of bread or wine. His whole body was covered in hair. The hair of his head grew long like a woman's, waving like fields of wheat. He lived with the animals. He ate grass with the gazelles. He jostled with the wild donkeys at the watering hole. He was happy. He was innocent. He was part of the wild rhythm of the earth. A hunter saw him one day. The hunter was terrified. He went to Gilgamesh in Uruk. "King," he said, "there is a man in the hills. He is the strongest in the world. He breaks my traps. He frees the animals." Gilgamesh laughed. "Go," he said. "Take Shamhat, the temple priestess. Let her show him the ways of humanity. Once he knows a woman, the animals will reject him. The hunter and Shamhat went to the watering hole. They waited for 3 days. On the 3rd day, the herd came to drink, and Enkidu was with them. Shamhat stepped out. She did not run. She showed him her beauty. Enkidu stopped. He had never seen a human before. He forgot the grass. He forgot the gazelles.
For 6 days and 7 nights, Enkidu stayed with Shamhat. When he finally stood up, he tried to run back to the herd, but the gazelles saw him and scattered. The wild donkeys ran away. Enkidu tried to run, but his legs were heavy. His wildness was gone. He sat down and wept. But as he sat, his mind cleared. He began to think. Shamhat spoke to him. "You are beautiful, Enkidu. You are like a god. Why do you run with the beasts? Come with me to Uruk. Come to the temple of Ishtar. Come meet Gilgamesh." Enkidu listened. His heart longed for a friend. "I will go," he said. "I will challenge this Gilgamesh. I will cry out in Uruk, 'I am the strongest.'" Shamhat clothed him. She gave him bread, which he did not know how to eat. She gave him beer, which he did not know how to drink. He bathed his hairy body with oil. He became a man. They walked toward the great city. Meanwhile, in Uruk, Gilgamesh woke from a dream. He went to his mother, Ninsun, the wise goddess. "Mother," he said, "I saw a star fall from the sky. It was too heavy for me to lift. The people of Uruk kissed its feet. I loved it like a brother." "My son," Ninsun said, "this star is a man, a comrade who saves his friend. He is coming to you." Enkidu entered Uruk. The people gathered around him. "He looks like Gilgamesh," they whispered, "but he is shorter in stature and stronger in bone." That night, Gilgamesh walked through the streets to claim a bride who was not his. He came to the wedding house, but someone was standing in the doorway. It was Enkidu. He planted his feet. He would not move. The 2 strongest beings on earth stared at each other. They grappled. It was not a fight of anger. It was a collision of forces, like 2 bulls locking horns. They grabbed each other. They smashed into the doorpost. Crack. Boom. The wood splintered. The walls of the house shook. They wrestled in the street. The dust swirled around them. Gilgamesh threw Enkidu, but Enkidu held his ground. They fought until their knees trembled and their chests heaved with exhaustion. Finally, Gilgamesh bent his knee. His fury burned out. He looked at Enkidu. Enkidu looked at Gilgamesh. There was no hate in their eyes. There was only recognition. "There is no one like you in the world," Enkidu said. They embraced. They kissed each other like brothers. The loneliness of the king was over. The wildness of the beast was tamed. They held hands and walked to the palace. The city of Uruk breathed a sigh of relief. The tyranny had ended. The friendship had begun. Days passed. Weeks passed. Enkidu grew soft in the city. He wept for his lost strength. "My arms are loose," he said. "My power is fading." Gilgamesh looked at his friend. He wanted to do a great deed. He wanted to write their names on bricks that would last forever. "Friend," Gilgamesh said, "let us go to the Cedar Forest. Let us cut down the sacred trees. Let us kill Humbaba, the guardian of the forest." Enkidu's eyes widened in fear. "I know that forest," he whispered. "When I ran with the wild beasts, I learned its name. It stretches for 10,000 leagues. Humbaba is a monster. His roar is the flood. His mouth is fire. His breath is death. Why do you want to die?" "We are mortal," Gilgamesh replied. "Our days are numbered. Only the gods live forever. If I fall, I will leave a name behind. Let us go." They went to the armory. They cast massive axes of bronze, weighing 3 talents each. They cast great swords with golden sheaths. The elders of Uruk warned them, "Do not trust your strength alone, Gilgamesh. Let Enkidu lead the way. He knows the wilderness." They stood at the great gate of Uruk. They took a deep breath. They stepped out into the unknown. The journey was long, a walk that takes ordinary men 6 weeks. They finished in 3 days. Imagine the rhythm of their walking. Step, step, step. 2 giants moving across the plains of Mesopotamia. Every 3 days they dug a well. Every night they stopped to sleep. Gilgamesh would pour flour on the ground as an offering to the dream god. "Mountain," he whispered, "bring me a dream." Enkidu slept the deep sleep of the wild, but Gilgamesh tossed and turned. 3 times he woke up screaming. "Friend, did you call me? Why am I awake? I saw a mountain fall on me. I saw a bull breathing fire." Each time, Enkidu comforted him. "The mountain is Humbaba. We will catch him. The bull is our protector, Shamash, the sun god. Sleep, my brother, sleep." They walked on, past the green fields, past the dry scrub, into the rocky foothills, until finally they saw it, the Cedar Forest. They stood at the edge of the forest. They fell silent. The trees were immense. They were tall, straight, and ancient. Their shade was heavy. The sun could not reach the ground. In Uruk, the only wood was palm tree, soft and fibrous. But here, the cedar was hard, fragrant, and eternal. The smell of the resin filled the air, sharp, clean, pine, and citrus. The floor of the forest was carpeted in soft needles. They entered the gloom. They saw the path where Humbaba walked. The ground was cleared. No brush grew there. They walked nervously, their axes heavy in their hands. They climbed the cedar mountain, the dwelling place of the gods. Then Gilgamesh swung his axe. Thwack! He cut into a cedar tree. The sound rang out like a bell. Far away, something heard them. A roar shook the ground. The birds flew up. The trees shivered. Humbaba was coming. the guardian appeared. He was terror itself. His face was like a coiled intestine. His teeth were dragon's fangs. When he looked at them, it was the look of death. "Why are you here?" Humbaba roared. "I will feed your flesh to the screaming birds." Gilgamesh's courage faltered. He froze. But Enkidu shouted,
"Do not be afraid, friend. 2 reeds together cannot be broken. Strike." The sun god, Shamash, heard their prayer. He sent the 13 winds to help them. The great wind, the north wind, the dust storm, the frost wind. The winds slammed into Humbaba. They blinded his eyes with dust. They held his arms back. He could not move forward. He could not run back. The monster was paralyzed by the air itself. Gilgamesh approached. Humbaba pleaded, "Let me go, Gilgamesh. I will be your servant. I will give you the forest." Enkidu shook his head. "Do not listen. Finish it." Gilgamesh swung his axe. Once, twice, 3 times. The guardian fell. The ground shook for 2 leagues. For the first time in history, the Cedar Forest was silent. The battle was over. Now came the harvest. They cut down the sacred cedars. Chop, chop, chop. The sound echoed in the empty woods. They found a tree taller than all the others, a cedar of 72 cubits. Enkidu cut it down. He carved it into a great door. "We will give this to the temple of Enlil," he said. They lashed the logs together to make a raft. They floated down the Euphrates River. Imagine drifting on a raft of fragrant cedar wood, the cool water beneath, the smell of sawdust and resin, the head of Humbaba swinging from the mast. They drifted back to Uruk, victorious. The walls of the city gleamed in the distance. They were heroes. They were untouchable, or so they thought. Gilgamesh washed the blood of the forest from his hair. He put on his clean robes. He put on his crown. He was so beautiful that Ishtar, the goddess of love and war, looked down from heaven and wanted him. She stood on the wall of Uruk. "Come to me, Gilgamesh," she whispered. "Be my husband. I will give you a chariot of lapis lazuli and gold. I will give you wheels of gold. Kings and princes will bow to you. Your goats will bear triplets. Your horses will be the fastest." But Gilgamesh was proud, and he was foolish. He looked at the goddess and sneered. "Why should I marry you?" he asked. "You are a door that lets in the cold. You are a shoe that
bites the foot of the wearer. Which of your lovers have you loved forever? You turned Tammuz into a broken-winged bird. You turned the shepherd into a wolf. If I marry you, you will treat me the same. Ishtar's fury was colder than the grave. She flew up to heaven. She went to her father, Anu. "Father," she cried, "Gilgamesh has insulted me. Give me the bull of heaven. I will smash him. I will smash his city." Anu hesitated. "If I give you the bull, there will be 7 years of famine." "I have stored up grain," Ishtar hissed. "Give me the bull." Anu handed her the leash of the beast. Ishtar led the bull of heaven down to Uruk. When the bull landed, the earth cracked. Boom! 100 men fell into the fissure and died. The bull snorted. Hiss! 200 men fell into the hole. The bull charged Gilgamesh, but Enkidu was there. He dodged the horns. He grabbed the bull by the thick muscle of its tail. "Strike it!" he yelled. Gilgamesh drove his sword into the bull's neck. The great beast fell. Its massive body lay like a hill in the street. They cut out the heart and offered it to the sun god. Ishtar stood on the wall, wailing, "Woe to Gilgamesh!" Enkidu, still wild with adrenaline, tore off the bull's leg and threw it at the goddess. "If I could catch you, I would do the same to you." It was the height of their glory and the beginning of their end. That night, Enkidu had a dream. The gods were in council. Anu said, "They have killed the bull of heaven. They have killed Humbaba. One of them must die." Enlil said, "Let Enkidu die. Gilgamesh shall not die." Enkidu woke up shivering. He was sick. His body burned with fever. He lay on his bed for 1 day, 2 days. "Brother," he said to Gilgamesh, "why do the gods do this?" He cursed the cedar door he had made. He cursed the hunter. He cursed Shamhat. But the sun god spoke to him from the sky. "Enkidu, why curse Shamhat? She gave you bread fit for a god. She gave you wine fit for a king. And she gave you Gilgamesh, a beautiful friend." Enkidu calmed down. His anger faded. He lay there for 12 days. Gilgamesh sat by his bedside, weeping. "Brother," Enkidu whispered, "I am not dying in battle. I am dying in shame, like a cow in a bed." His breathing slowed. His chest stopped moving. The wild man returned to the earth. And Gilgamesh was alone. Gilgamesh touched his friend's heart. It did not beat. He covered his friend's face like a bride. He began to rage like a lioness who has lost her cubs. He tore his hair. He tore off his beautiful robes and threw them down. "People of Uruk," he cried, "weep for him. Let the river weep. Let the mountain weep. Let the bears, the hyenas, the leopards, the deer, let them all weep for Enkidu." He commanded the blacksmiths to make a statue of his friend, of gold and lapis lazuli. but statues cannot breathe. Gilgamesh watched the body. He waited for him to wake up. But on the seventh day, he saw a worm crawl from his friend's nose. Fear struck Gilgamesh. Not just grief, fear. If he can die, I can die. The king looked at his own hands. He looked at his own skin. I'm going to die. The thought was a cold knife in his chest. He could not stay in Uruk. The city was full of death. He threw away his crown. He put on the skin of a lion, and he walked out into the desert. He was looking for the only man who had ever defeated death, Utnapishtim. Gilgamesh walked alone. He walked until he reached the twin peaks of Mount Mashu. These mountains guard the rising and setting of the sun. Their tops brush the sky. Their roots reach down to the underworld. Standing at the gate were the scorpion men. They were terrifying. Half man, half dragon. Their aura was blinding. Gilgamesh shielded his eyes, but he did not run. The scorpion man called to his wife, "Look, the one who comes, his body is the flesh of gods." The wife replied, "2/3 is God, 1/3 is man." "Why are you here?" the scorpion man asked. "I am looking for Utnapishtim," Gilgamesh said. "I want to ask him about life and death." "No mortal has ever passed through the mountain," the scorpion man said. "The tunnel is 12 leagues of absolute darkness. You will not survive." "My heart is broken," Gilgamesh said. "I must go. Open the gate." The scorpion man looked at the grief in the king's face. "Go then, Gilgamesh. May your feet bring you back safely." The massive stone gate groaned open. Gilgamesh stepped into the dark. He entered the tunnel. The sun gate closed behind him. There was no light, no moon, no stars. He could not see his hand in front of his face. He walked for 1 league. The darkness was thick. He walked for 2 leagues. He could feel the weight of the mountain above him. He walked for 3 leagues. There was only the sound of his own sandals on the stone. Scrape, scrape. 4 leagues. 5 leagues. 6 leagues. He was in the center of the earth. He cried out, but the darkness swallowed his voice. 7 leagues. 8 leagues. He began to run. He felt the cold breath of the wind on his face. 9 leagues. 10 leagues. The darkness began to thin. A pale gray light appeared ahead. 11 leagues. 12 leagues. He burst out into the sunlight. He was in the garden of the gods. The trees here did not bear fruit. They bore jewels. Carnelian fruit hung from the vines. Lapis lazuli leaves shimmered in the wind. The ground was littered with diamonds and emeralds. But Gilgamesh did not stop to gather them. He did not care for treasure. He wanted answers. He walked to the edge of the sea. There, living in a tavern by the waves, was Siduri, the alewife. She saw him coming. He looked like a savage. His cheeks were sunken. His hair was matted. He wore the skin of a lion. She was afraid. She locked her door and bolted it. Gilgamesh pounded on the door. "Open up, or I will smash it down." Siduri opened the door a crack. "Who are you?" "I am Gilgamesh. I killed the Humbaba. I killed the bull of heaven." Siduri looked at him. "If you are Gilgamesh, why do you look like a beggar? Why is there despair in your heart?" "My friend is dead," Gilgamesh said. "Enkidu is dead. I am afraid of death. I am looking for Utnapishtim." Siduri sighed. She looked at him with pity. "Gilgamesh, you will never find the life you are looking for. When the gods created man, they kept immortality for themselves. Fill your belly, dance and play, love your wife, hold your child's hand. This is the lot of man. Go home." "I cannot go home," Gilgamesh said. "Show me the way to Utnapishtim." "He lives across the waters of death," Siduri said. "Only the boatman, Urshanabi, can take you there. Go find him." Gilgamesh found the boatman Urshanabi in the forest. In his rage and grief, Gilgamesh smashed the boat's stone things, the mystical charms that protected the vessel. Urshanabi shook his head. "You have destroyed the safety of the crossing. Now you must work." They cut 300 poles from the forest. They pushed the boat into the dark, lethal water. "Do not touch the water," Urshanabi warned. "One drop means death." They sailed. When the first pole was wet, Gilgamesh threw it away and used the next, pole after pole, pushing the boat across the silent, black ocean. When the poles ran out, Gilgamesh stood up. He held his lion's skin aloft for a sail. Far away on the distant shore, an old man watched them coming. It was Utnapishtim, the faraway. He saw the stranger. Gilgamesh landed the boat. He stumbled onto the shore. He stood before the immortal man. "I am Gilgamesh. I have traveled the road of the sun. I have crossed the ocean. Tell me the secret. How did you find eternal life?" Utnapishtim looked at Gilgamesh with ancient eyes. "There is no secret, Gilgamesh. Nothing lasts forever. Do we build a house to stand forever? Do we seal a contract forever? The river rises and brings the flood. The dragonfly floats on the water, and then its face is gone. But you live," Gilgamesh said. "I will tell you a secret of the gods," Utnapishtim said. "Long ago, in the city of Shuruppak, the gods decided to send a flood. The noise of mankind was too loud, and Lil could not sleep. But the god Ea whispered to a reed hut wall, 'Man of Shuruppak, tear down your house, build a boat, give up your possessions, save your life. Take the seed of all living things aboard.' I built the boat. It was a perfect cube, 6 decks, 7 levels. I pitched it with bitumen inside and out. I loaded my family. I loaded the beasts of the field. Then the weather changed. A black cloud rose from the horizon. The storm god Adad bellowed within it. The dams of the sky broke. The light turned to darkness. The wind smashed the land like a clay pot. For 6 days and 7 nights the wind blew. The flood flattened the land. Even the gods were afraid. They retreated to the highest heaven and cowered like dogs. On the seventh day, the ocean grew calm. I opened a window. The light fell on my face. I looked out. All was silence. All humanity had turned to clay. I fell to my knees and wept. The boat grounded on a mountain. I sent out a dove. It returned. I sent out a swallow. It returned. I sent out a raven. It saw the waters retreating. It ate. It flew away. It did not return. I made a sacrifice. The gods smelled the sweet smoke. Enlil was angry I survived, but Ea calmed him. Enlil touched my forehead. Before, Utnapishtim was human. Now, he and his wife shall be like us gods. They shall live in the distance at the mouth of the rivers. That is how I live. But who will call the gods for you, Gilgamesh? Utnapishtim looked at the exhausted king. You want to conquer death? First, try to conquer sleep. Stay awake for 6 days and 7 nights. Gilgamesh sat down. He tried to keep his eyes open, but sleep, like a fog, drifted over him. It took him instantly. He slept for 1 day. Utnapishtim's wife baked a loaf of bread and placed it by his head. He slept for 2 days. She baked another loaf. 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days. The bread from the first day was hard as a stone. The bread from the last day was fresh. Utnapishtim touched Gilgamesh. Wake up. Gilgamesh jumped up. I was just resting my eyes. I hardly slept. Look, Utnapishtim said. Look at the bread. You have slept for 7 days. If you cannot defeat the little death of sleep, how can you defeat the big death? Gilgamesh wept. What shall I do? Where shall I go? Death is sitting in my bedroom. Go wash him, Utnapishtim told the boatman. His smell offends me. Give him new clothes that show no age. Gilgamesh bathed. He put on a fresh robe. He got into the boat to leave, empty-handed. But Utnapishtim's wife took pity on him. He has traveled so far, she said. Give him something. Utnapishtim called out, Gilgamesh, there is a plant. It grows underwater. Its thorns will prick your hands. But if you eat it, you will become young again. It is the plant of heartbeat returns to youth. Gilgamesh tied heavy stones to his feet. He dove into the deep water. Down, down, down. He saw the plant. He grabbed it. The thorns cut his hands, but he held on. He cut the stones from his feet and shot to the surface, gasping for air. He held the plant up to the sun. I have it, he cried to Urshanabi. I will take this to Uruk. I will give it to the old men to eat. Then I will eat it myself. I will be young again. They began the long journey home. They walked for 30 leagues. they stopped for the night. Gilgamesh saw a pool of cool water. He wanted to bathe. He placed the plant on the ground, careful and safe. He stepped into the pool. The water felt good on his tired skin. But deep in the pool, a snake smelled the plant. The serpent slid silently out of the water. It moved through the grass. Shh, shh. It took the plant in its mouth. It slid back into its hole. As it went, it shed its old skin, leaving a translucent husk behind, and slithered away, fresh and young. Gilgamesh came out of the water. He saw the empty spot. He saw the snakeskin. He fell to his knees. Tears streamed down his face. For whom have I labored? For whom have I bled? I did not secure the good deed for myself. I secured it for the earth lion, the snake. He laughed, a bitter, hollow laugh. Let us go, Urshanabi. It is over. They walked back. They crossed the mountains. They crossed the plains. Finally, they saw it. The walls of Uruk, glowing like copper in the sunset. Gilgamesh stopped. He looked at the city. He did not have the plant. He did not have his friend. He did not have eternal life. But he had his eyes. He turned to the boatman. Urshanabi, climb up on the wall of Uruk. Inspect the foundation terrace. Examine the brickwork. Is it not made of burnt brick? Did not the 7 sages lay its foundations? 1 square mile of city. 1 square mile of palm gardens. 1 square mile of clay pits. This is my city. I built this. My life is not in the magic plant. My life is in these bricks. Humans die, but the work of humans remains. The king walked through the gates. He took out his stylus. He picked up a tablet of lapis lazuli, and he began to write. He who saw the deep, who traveled the world, and came back weary, but at peace. And now the tablet is finished. The king is sleeping. The city is quiet. The story is yours. Sleep now. Sleep